Yo, my people, it's your boy JB from the Hoops Hustle Pod.
It's your boy KJ.
And we're back for another season. I mean, the season is just around the corner. We're almost there. We're almost at the tipping point of starting that. But let's quickly recap the off-season. I mean, we've had so many events. We've had the Olympics. We've had trades going through. How do you feel the off-season went?
Well, this off-season has been electric. We had the Olympics, we had LeBron, Steph, KD, the Avengers.
I can't lie, man. I missed that team already, man. I want to see that again.
We were very fortunate enough to go watch them play in the O2.
You know what, so, man? I even forgot about that. How could I forget about that, man?
I was looking through my phone and the highlights. I was like, fam, I got to see LeBron James play.
You know, I'm glad, yeah, because obviously you never know if you was to go to America and buy a ticket to a game with all the load managing they got going on now. You never know when you're going to get a chance to experience LeBron, let alone LeBron, Steph, KD, and all the rest of them as well.
I was really gutted that KD couldn't play, but seeing the others, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, like we actually got to see the Avengers, the top of the top.
Now that was electric, man. I'm happy we got to see that.
So what's your take on the overall Olympics? You know, USA got the gold against France, but it was quite electric.
You know, I like what I've seen from the Olympics because it just reinforced the idea that the NBA is becoming a global sport now. Yeah. You saw the Avengers team go down to the wire with Serbia, also go down to the wire with France as well, man. But seeing LeBron, Steph, and KD all on the same team together, like, I mean, I don't want to talk about trades yet, man. But if Steph and LeBron can orchestrate a little signing, I would love to see that again.
I think growing up in my household, obviously I've been like LeBron. Yeah. But like watching the finals and the semi-finals, my mum's never watched basketball properly before. Yeah. And the funny thing is we weren't in the same house, but she was watching it and she was like, just give the ball to Curry, So it's like, it's now she's finally seeing what the hype is about. But Steph Curry, that guy saved USA, man.
Yeah, he did, man. He did. I mean, the last, 3 minutes of the finals, what he did here, the shots he was making. We all know he was a great shooter already, but to do it on the biggest stage, I think, would you say that's bigger than the NBA Finals?
Yeah, because you have the whole world watching.
Yeah. I would say so as well, man. Even I was watching it with my dad as well, man, and he was just in awe of the shots Curry was making.
And that shot that he made over the two defenders?
Yeah, that was nuts. That's when you just have to, you can't do nothing about that kind of shot. As a defender, you just got to throw your hands up and be like, listen, man, that's Steph Curry.
But like you said, it shows that the game is growing globally. We saw Serbia, we saw France, we saw other teams showing that USA can be beaten.
That's true. And unfortunately, UK wasn't there. I don't really know what's going on with our basketball in this country, but you see in other countries, or France especially, man, France that's an hour and a half away from us, how big basketballs will come in their country, so it's crazy.
Don't get me started on the UK, man. We already know it's underfunded. So yeah. Hopefully in a couple of years' time, we'll see the UK challenging or sending a lot more players overseas to the NBA.
But now we're obviously trending towards the NBA season, which is back in 2 weeks, I believe. Which off-season move would you say was the most surprising for you?
For me, the surprising one had to be Cat going to the Knicks because it was just so under the radar. But before that, I was actually really happy what Philly did. Paul George, re-signing the young point guard, Tyrese Maxey. So for me, it was Philly all the way. But the Knicks, getting Mikal Bridges earlier, then all of a sudden just getting Cat, who for me is a top 5 center in the league.
I can agree with that still. I think, definitely the Knicks trade because no one in the NBA world saw that coming. Obviously, there's been talks about the Timberwolves wanting to get off Cat's contracts because obviously they're paying 3 max players already. So there were talks about that. But the Knicks, I mean, Julius Randle, man, I feel sorry for him. He's really embedded himself in that city, in that culture, but the NBA is a business.
He was the starting point for the New York Knicks, He's the one that started the whole change and the culture there. But, sometimes you got to move on in order to win.
Facts, man. And what do you think of that move, though? Do you feel like Cat can be a real difference maker in that team?
At first, I was thinking I wasn't getting the hype. But then I went back and looked at his Timberwolves highlights and I was like, if he actually gets his back to the basket, I think he can dominate. They were missing size.
Yeah, facts.
And I think he's that size that can shoot, that can play back to the basket, and can also defend somewhat.
It's a dangerous move, I think people are underplaying it a bit too much because I think Cat is probably a perfect player to pair next to Jalen Brunson, someone who can shoot a free, can also play inside a little bit. Obviously, people say he's a bit soft, but I think in New York as a city, I mean, if you don't perform in New York, the fans are going to let you know. So I feel like he has to adapt to that hostility. But I feel like playing with Anthony Edwards these last few years has really lit a fire under him.
Yeah.
And that could come out in New York as well.
Player for player, New York Knicks, can challenge Boston Celtics.
Nah, they've got a real decent team, and we're forgetting OG Anunoby as well. Obviously, Josh Hart. They needed a centre who's reliable, who can play.
Yeah.
Because obviously Mitchell Robinson was obviously always injured, and with Julius Randle as well. Once they made a trade for Mikal Bridges, there were like questions on how is he going to fit with the team, and they made that decision quick way. So I can't wait to see the Knicks this year, man. I think they're gonna do some real damage in the Eastern Conference.
Obviously, I mentioned Philly. Like, what do you make of that move?
Now, I'm not the biggest PG fan. I'm not the biggest Joel Embiid fan because you know me. Show me when it matters in the playoffs. But I love that move, bro. I love that move. You've got Tyrese Maxey taking care of the guard position.
Yeah.
You've got PG taking care of the wings. And you've got probably either the or second best center in the league at the moment. I mean, that's 3 tiers of basketball you've covered. I love the move. I can't lie to you, man. And I feel like they needed it because Joel Embiid, I feel like we understand in a regular season, he can pop all the points he wants.
Yeah.
But he's never healthy in the postseason. So now you've got PG now to alleviate some of that pressure from him. That's a dangerous move, man. I'm liking what the Sixers done.
I think playoff P, I was about to say. Playoff P, Paul George.
Yeah.
For me, he's someone that goes under the radar. Like, he's a versatile two-way player.
He is.
Can defend, like, at least 3 to 4 positions.
Is he that same kind of player, though?
He's not the same. Player? He can defend, he can shoot, he can lock down on defense, and he's a player that I see that can go under the radar. He's not selfish.
He's not, yeah.
He's not selfish. He's a team player, and sometimes if they need him to get buckets, he can get buckets from the mid-range, from the free to the rack. And then Joel Embiid, for me, is the best center in the league.
Oh, so you've got Embiid over Jokic, yeah?
It's just literally neck and
neck.
neck.
For me, he's definitely there. I don't think there's like a big gap, so I can agree with that one.
It's the injuries that has been killing him.
Yeah.
Because you saw him on one leg against New York Knicks. He literally took them to 6 games.
Yeah, that's true. Let me ask you this question. Is PG the second or third option on that team? I think he might be the third option, you know. I think going in, he's going to be the second. But I feel like as the season progresses and as Tyrese Maxey progresses as well, going off what he done last year, I think it may work out that PG could be the third option.
I think it's similar to what he was like at the Clippers. Because he was never the first option.
No, he wasn't.
And even when James Harden came in, he technically wasn't the second option.
Yeah,
I think
it's a bit iffy, yeah.
Paul George is the kind of player that he's the third option in this team,
yeah.
the Philadelphia Sixers team. But if one of the two players, not one of the two players, if Joel Embiid goes down injured, then Paul George for me is the number one. I think he usurps Tyrese Maxey because of the style of player that he is, because of the wing and whatnot. But if Tyrese Maxey goes injured, then PG is obviously going to have more ball handling, but dishing it into Joel Embiid being the number one. So, second best player on the team, but the third player, and then he's the versatile that can be either or.
Yeah, I mean, with Tyrese Maxey signing that contract extension this summer, he's going to look for more responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think we will see it that he's blossoming into that next guard for the Sixers. So it's going to be interesting, man. I personally love what the Sixers done. They made a great trade. I feel like it's a trade they needed to make as well, because now you're going from Tobias Harris as your third option to Paul George.
Yeah.
Even though he's come up short in times, but he's still a big-time player as well.
It's a night and day between the two. Tobias Harris, like, going back to Detroit.
Yeah. Can I make a bold statement?
Go on.
If the Celtics and Sixers meet in the playoffs, that series is going to go 7 games.
I think if any of the 3 teams, Knicks, Celtics, or Philadelphia, I think all 3 of those teams, if they meet each other, it's going to be...
Do you know what is so crazy, bro? Why are we just disregarding the Milwaukee Bucks now? Like, what's happened to the Bucks? That their shine has just gone completely.
You know what? For me personally, I'm not disrespecting them. I'm putting them in that top four. Dame Lillard last season was his first season in Milwaukee. Yeah. He didn't want to go in Milwaukee in the first place. We all know he wanted to go in Miami, but it was his first season.
Yeah.
New environment. And then he didn't have a bad season. Just got injured towards the end.
He didn't, yeah.
But coach change as well.
Yeah. And he even said it. Doc Rivers came out and said, I think it was on a podcast, that he basically told him last summer he never really trained because he didn't know what was going to happen. He didn't know what team was going to be on. So he never really trained coming into the season. And you did see it, man. I feel like it was a bit of a step slow. Obviously, as the season progressed, he got back into shape. But I don't know. I feel like Giannis is, can we say he's the third best player in the league? Second? First?
In that,
yeah. But it's like no one talks about him anymore, which is weird. So I'm not sleeping on the Bucks. I know everyone else is, but I'm not sleeping on them.
And in my opinion, I think Damian Lillard is top 3, top 4 point guards in the league.
Yeah, I'll say top five.
But I think last season he had a lot of personal issues as well off the court.
Yeah,
so it's like,
true.
It's just a mixture of everything. But we'll see the season. I definitely have Milwaukee Bucks in that mix.
Speaking about the West, I mean, personally for me, I couldn't tell you any team that's going to come out of the Western Conference. I can't make a decision.
Kid you not, 10 out of those teams has a chance of making it into playoffs. But you know what? Let's start off by disregarding the Portland Trailblazers. Them lot are flagging for Cooper.
Do you know what's so crazy? I think I could actually see the San Antonio Spurs not making the playoffs. I can see them in like a play in like a 10th spot. I could actually see that.
Same with Houston.
Yeah, Houston as well.
But there's one team that didn't make the playoffs, didn't make the play-in last season.
I know who you're going to say.
100% making the playoffs.
I know who you're going to say.
Top 6, guaranteed.
I would even say top 3.
Potentially.
You're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies.
Obviously.
Yeah, they're looking dangerous because I feel like people have forgotten about who they really are. And now with a solidified center, Zach Edey as well, they're going to cause some problems, man.
People forgetting Ja Morant was recently the most improved player. For me, could be one of the top favourites for MVP this season. You got Triple J, who won Defensive Player of the Season. Yeah.
I don't know how he got over AD, but
he's good at defense.
Yeah, facts.
And then you drafting Zach Edey. That guy is a monster.
And you can't forget about Marcus Smart as well.
Marcus Smart. So they got role players. Yeah. They got started players.
No, that's a dangerous team, man. And I think they're actually going to finish. I'm going to put them to win the West, you know. I think they're going to have the top seed in the Western Conference. I'm saying it right now. This is not a hot take. I genuinely believe the Memphis Grizzlies, because they won like 50-something games like 2 years ago or something like that. As long as they stay healthy, I'm actually going to pick them to win the Western Conference.
For me, winning the West is a bit of a stretch. I got OKC winning because of the moves that they did. Getting Isaiah Hartenstein.
That was a decent
Caruso.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like looking at OKC.
Do they have a better team though?
OKC 100%.
OKC, yeah.
They got the depth. But I feel like
Memphis got
the best player.
Yeah. SGA or Ja. I feel like it's because we haven't seen Ja properly.
In such a long time.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Because the one game, remember the first game when he came out last season?
Game winner, first game back. Like what? Averaging like 30-something points and then boom, got injured again. So no, people are not sleeping on Memphis, but we've kind of forgotten about them. So they're going to be dangerous. Like we said, the West is just a bloodbath, bro.
What's your takes on the Phoenix Suns getting a good point guard as well?
Yeah, I think they needed that, man. Too many scorers on that team. I think it was a great signing for them. And like, even with them, I have no idea where they're going to end up. But I think that's a great signing for them, to be fair. They won, 40-something games last year?
Yeah.
And Bradley Beal was in and out of the lineup as well. Like, he was never really healthy. So, I mean, like, I don't know who's going to win the West. I couldn't tell you.
Dallas Mavericks as well.
Dallas Mavericks.
They went into the finals last year, but now they got Klay Thompson.
Bro,
so what's your view on that, actually?
Who's that? The Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, Klay Thompson.
It's an interesting move. It's a very interesting move because I think the finals really highlighted what they needed was shooting. If you're taking the ball out of Luka and Kyrie's hands, who else can get you a bucket? Which is what they lacked last year. So now instead of passing the ball to Derrick Jones Jr., you're now passing it to Klay Thompson. And that's someone who teams have to respect.
I think he was second in catch and shoot threes last season.
Bro.
On a bad season as well.
And that's the thing. He's not going to be asked to put the ball on the floor like he was. He's not a second option like he was in the Warriors. He's back down to his third option. Oh, man, they made a great trade, man. I agree with that trade. I like it.
I don't know about this Warriors, though. Getting Buddy Hield and some of these other players, like Steph showed in the Olympics that he's still elite. Still the best point guard in the league, in my opinion. But it's like, okay, cool. What do you do?
Can I say it? This is not really a hot take because it's just my opinion, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I genuinely, you got Steph, and I know Steph's amazing.
Yeah.
He can do all the carrying you want, but the league has just gotten better. The league has gotten so much better now. You can't have off nights and off games. And that team around him, I'm surprised he hasn't even asked out for a trade or something. But
he signed a new contract.
He did an extension. So
they have a chance, but I think Jonathan Kuminga needs to step up.
He does.
Moses Moody needs to step up. Draymond Green just needs to behave this season.
yeah, for real. And Kuminga could take that next step because he was looking nice at some points last season. So, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Just Steph by himself, I don't know. But he's that great, so he could do some carrying.
All this talk of the West, I haven't even talked about the Lakers. Lakers and the Clippers.
Yeah. Do you know what? With the Lakers, yeah, I just want to see what JJ Redick does because they're not a bad team.
Yeah.
They're not a bad team. We saw it in the playoffs. They always play Denver well, but it's just those last moments, just coaching, the plays and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think the Lakers, with them, it's so hard to tell, man. Obviously, LeBron's now 40, 41.
40 in December?
Yeah. I mean, can the others take the next step? Can AD really take the reins? Not just saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to take the reins. Really take the reins as the best player on that team.
I think the number one priority for that team is to make the playoffs outright.
Yeah.
Don't
and
make
healthy.
the play-ins, stay healthy, but make the playoffs outright. I think Lakers drafting Bronny James is boosting some new life into the Bron.
You think so, yeah?
Like, Bronny ain't going to play much.
Hell no.
That we already know. But I think drafting his son, you can see him, man. He's a kid again on the court.
Yeah.
And I think it's giving him a new sense of life.
It could, because imagine the GOAT conversation, winning a ring with your son.
Fam, it's a wrap. For me, it's a wrap. But
it will be hard for me to argue against that, man. I hope he does well, but I agree with that, though. He's definitely looked a bit more spry. Obviously, looks like he's having fun. Even with all the talks about what's happening in the training camp, apparently all of the players are saying the vibes have been great, much better than last season. So you could tell they really hated Davenham.
He definitely was a cancer.
Yeah.
But let's go not across the corridor now. Now in Inglewood, the Clippers. What's your take on them?
This is another team that it's a big question mark on
Yeah.
there. I mean, you still got James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, two dangerous killers, but I don't know, man. Do you know what, yeah? Originally, I said they weren't going to make the playoffs, but I realized that's a bit of a dumb take. As long as they're healthy, because you know Kawhi Leonard is a bit...
Yeah.
I think they could be in a playoff. I think maybe like a 6th, 7th seed, because you still got Kawhi Leonard. When he is healthy, like...
And you got one of the best coaches in the league as well.
Bro, get me, James Harden. So.
But it's going to be James Harden, dribble, 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 dribble. Really heard Kawhi Leonard saying, yeah, the team, nothing.
Yeah, I saw
no
that.
one stands out. So it's like,
I love Kawhi Leonard, man. That guy would just say what's on his mind.
So unfiltered, man.
Facts. I don't know. The Clippers are a hard one to judge, man. I really couldn't say what's going to happen with them this season. But I'm just interested to see, is Kawhi Leonard actually going to be healthy?
Yeah.
But obviously, we've talked about the West. We've talked about the East. Which conference do you think is harder this season?
The West is still a gauntlet. It's the toughest, for me, it's the toughest conference out of them. You've got 10 teams that can arguably make the
conference finals.
Yeah. Like, even Lakers, as much as we think they're not really all that great, they really made the Western Conference 2 years ago.
All it takes is the right matchup, to be honest.
But I think with the East, they are top heavy.
Yeah, 100%.
They got 3 good teams. For me, 4 teams, but if you want to say 3, you got 3 or 4 good teams at the top.
Yeah, I can agree, because I think the East has gotten much better. It's gotten harder, but the West, man, is just so tough, bro. Like the West, again, I couldn't place a bet on who's going to come out. We even forgot to talk about Denver as well. Like,
Denver, Sacramento Kings.
We're not really worried about the Kings, but yeah, the West is a bloodbath, man. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Even Timberwolves, we didn't even mention them.
Speaking of the Timberwolves, I was actually just about to say, because obviously the cat trade, obviously I know they wanted to get off catch money off the books and whatnot, but Julius Randle, like, do you think that's going to make sense?
I think Julius Randle's got something to prove. He's a dog. He can ball hard, and I think when you look at you got Naz Reid still, you still got that depth. You've even got Rudy Gobert. And I think Julius Randle will play the 4 minutes, and Naz Reid will play the 5 minutes in the dying minutes of the final quarter. So I think Julius Randle will fit in nicely because he's a natural 4, not a 5.
He is. I just fear that the paint's going to be so clogged up with him, Rudy Gobert, and obviously for Edwards, he wants to operate in the paint as well sometimes. It'll be hard, but we'll see.
JB, the WNBA this season has been on fire. We now have the finals matchup coming up soon. But what's your take on the season so far?
First of all, I just want to say in my aces, man, it's been such an up and down season. Like,
it's hard to three-peat.
It is. That's the thing. It is hard to three-peat because at the end of the day, they were chasing history.
Yeah.
But there was so much, I think, outside noise and just a lot happening this season where they just couldn't get that form consistently like they did last year.
Yeah, you had Chelsea Gray injured to start off the season. You had Kelsey Plum, who had like an up and down season. So for me, it was just like, it was very challenging. But this season's been great though.
It has, man. I mean,
think Caitlin Clark just...
That's what I was going to say. Like, we have to talk about Caitlin Clark, man. What she's done for the league, the eyes she's brought, a lot of the controversy she's brought as well. I feel like a lot of the conversation went left with her.
Yeah.
But just in terms of pure basketball, I mean, she really is amazing, man.
And Angel Reese, you have to give her flowers too. For me, Angel Reese showed just how much she too is a baller. I know people were clowning her for offensive rebounds, but for me, getting a rebound is hard in this game.
No, it is. It is. The shooting could be a little better. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, getting rebounds.
It's a rookie season.
No, facts. But I feel like because Caitlin Clark was not a unanimous rookie of the year. Yeah, she was one vote off, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, let's be real here. Angel Reese is good. She's amazing, but there was a level this year. Like Caitlin Clark was like, we're talking about her kind of in MVP votings as well, slightly. So. But yeah, man, like I love what she's done for the league. I mean, in her first year, being able to pop the stats she did, being able to lead the league in assists.
Mate, the league saw numbers that it's never seen in years. Yeah. Jersey sales gone up, TV views gone up, ratings gone up, All-Star voting's gone up. And I think Caitlin Clark, I think Angel Reese as well, I think them two, you have to give them their flowers for driving the league the way it's going.
Facts.
Guys, it's been a blast. The first episode of season 2 in the books. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
And definitely lock in with us because we're going to be coming much regularly for season 2. You know we have to come back bigger and better.